so. It seems a bit more anticlimactic somehow this time.
I know. I mean, we've been through it, and people are still wondering if it's going to proceed or not. I do have the feeling it's going to go ahead, but it's still a big question in a lot of people's minds. So
it sure looks like it, but I'm just noticing that there's way less people. Just we don't seem to have a sense of excitement. It's almost,
yeah, I know. It's. I think just last time it was such a letdown that people don't want to get their hopes up. But you know, I am of the feeling, at least from the faxes that I've seen, the correspondence, that it will proceed today. Definitely.
Good. Well, enjoy the show.
Thanks. You too.
All right, David, we were all here last time, and everybody kind of left in a funk. What do you think of the prospects for today?
Well, the Supreme Court have promised us that we're going ahead, so we're going ahead.
Decriminalization is all floating around there as an issue politically. How might that affect things, or should it affect things?
Well, it gives us the opportunity to bring it up. The Supreme Court wanted to hear a full and fair debate on the subject. Well, we have some thoughts on it too, you know? So it gives us the opportunity to explore that option. And my personal feelings are that it's just trading one punishment for another. It'll benefit rich pot smokers somewhat, a little bit, but poor pot smokers are likely to go to jail and move paying fines. So it could be worse. It could be a lot worse for marijuana smokers in Montreal and Vancouver, places where they're not getting harassed right now. It could be a lot worse.
Just thumbnail sketch what your appeal is, what your argument is.
Right. Section 7 and 15, I'm arguing protect harmless people. Section 7 especially originates, our concept of liberty originates from John Stuart Mill's On Liberty, and he articulated that we should have the right to all our political liberties, thought, belief, opinion, expression, association, assembly, but we should also have the right to our tastes and our pursuits, actually any harmless activities. And while not all cannabis use or growing or dealing is harmless, all proper use and proper growing and proper dealing is harmless, and therefore should be protected by 7 and even 15 of the Constitution.
Do you think if you're successful in appeal, that could even overturn the decriminalized?
Oh, I'm out for menus. I'm out for full dignity, the total equality with caffeine, dealers, coffee bean growers and dealers, and coffee users. I want no punishment, no fine. I mean, John Stuart Mill himself said that you should never be approached with any evil for your own good, you know, and any evil means jail, means a $500 fine. It means a 5-cent fine. You know, when they repealed the sodomy laws, they didn't stick a fine in there in its place. They totally removed the punishment. And that's what all the cannabis activists have been asking for since '93, or since earlier, since Mr. Conroy's case, since the mid-'70s. We've been asking for no punishment. We haven't been asking for fines. You know?
I don't want to hold you up.
All right, gotta run.
Conroy, I represent Randy Caine.
Okay. And what is his position?
We're arguing that the possession and that the prohibition against the possession and use of cannabis is unconstitutional, violating Section 7 of the Charter.
Which is freedom?
The right to life, liberty, and the security of your person, and the right not to be deprived thereof except in accordance with principles of fundamental justice.
How is this depriving his life?
He's charged with a criminal offense, so that's a threat to his liberty. That it brings in Section 7 of the Charter. It also brings in the security of his person. So the question is, the courts below have identified the harm principle as being the principle of fundamental justice in issue. So the question is, what level of risk of harm has to exist before Parliament can threaten liberty in a free and democratic society? Is it any risk of harm to others or to society as a whole, or does it have to be a serious, substantial, or significant risk of harm?
And what do you make of the fact that they're proceeding with this case while talking about decriminalizing marijuana?
I think it's good that we're proceeding with the case. We submitted that we should have proceeded last time, that the politicians might benefit from hearing the judgment of this court on this issue.
But on the other hand, they went ahead and decriminalized it, they could just drop all charges.
Well, no, because what they mean by decriminalization, as I understand it, it is not the vacation of any penalties whatsoever. They propose some sort of scheme whereby under 10 grams or possibly under 30 grams will be a traffic ticket scheme, whereas anything over will remain the same. And in fact, they're talking about, I think, increased penalties for growing and dealing.
And was your client in the latter category?
My client is charged with simple possession, but Malmo-Levine is charged with possession for the purpose of trafficking.
How much was he charged with having possessing it?
My client was a very small amount, less than half a gram, I think, as I recall. It was just the end of a marijuana cigarette. Malmo-Levine, I'm sure, was in excess of 10 grams. I can't remember the actual figures.
And he was trafficking?
He was possessing for the purpose of trafficking. He had a harm reduction club that he created.
So are you all in concert? Are you representing Malmo-Levine as well?
Well, he's representing himself, but I've assisted him as counsel, as a lawyer, in terms of the process.
He's representing himself? I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I get your name again?
John.
John Conroy, C-O-N? Thank you.
Any last words, John?
No?
No?
I don't think so.
It's a common theme today. It's low-key. Good luck.
Thanks.
That's what we're going to hear later. The Crown's going to argue that that the right to smoke marijuana is such a trivial activity that there's no reason for constitutional protection. But if it is so trivial that it doesn't warrant constitutional protection, is it not then so trivial that it certainly doesn't warrant prohibition? That's, I guess, la question du jour, and we'll see what the Crown has to say about that this afternoon.
Okay, could you tell us who you are?
My name is Boris, and I'm the leader of Canada's Marijuana Party.
Thanks, Boris.
No problem.